Jayda InStitches show. The cool weather has arrived, and with it that chill that kind of creeps into the house, into the office, into your shoulders when you're sitting working at the computer. The best combat for that chill is a shawl. And like blankets, I don't think you can ever have too many shawls. Shawls are great. You can wrap them around your throat, you can wrap them around your shoulders, you can drape them over your lap if you're hot up top but cool down below. And best of all, shawls can be a real fashion statement. And that is exactly what we're after in today's project. For today's shawl, we've used Color Theory by Lion Brand Yarns, and we'd like to thank Lion Brand for sponsoring today's video. Color Theory yarn is, well, just that. It's the theory that if you mix any of the colors in that line of yarn together, you can't get something that doesn't look right. None of the colors clash. They all blend together beautifully. So if you have trouble picking colors for a project, then Color Theory has you taken care of. You can just pick any old colors you want, as many as you want, as few as you want in that line of yarns, and they all look beautiful together. And the concept behind it is great. It's like the Hue and Me line that we've also done some projects with here on the show. But the Color Theory is a 100% acrylic size 4 medium weight yarn. So there's even more applications for this yarn than maybe the Hue and Me. I like the colors a lot in the Color Theory line. They kind of remind me like denim jeans. In fact, the colors I use for today's shawl are Moonbeam and Stonewash. Like denim jeans, you can kind of pair anything with them. Almost anything looks good with a pair of jeans. So when Mr. InStitches and I were thinking about the kind of shawl we might want to make with the Color Theory yarns, he said, well, why not make something really asymmetrical, really interesting? Let's put that Color Theory to the test. Can you take Color Theory, any old combination of colors, and also mix in something completely different? And I think the answer to that question is yes. We've added a bright splotch of color at the end of this shawl to give it an asymmetrical look, a real fashion statement. And depending on how you want to wear your shawl, you can really play up that blast of color, or you can tone it down by tucking it underneath or just having it pop out the top. There's a lot of ways to wear a shawl. I'm going to show you how to make this asymmetrical shawl with stripes in today's tutorial. But I'm also going to explain to you how you can just make it all one color if that's what you're into, or how you can just stripe the whole thing from start to finish if you want to do that too. This is a really fun shawl. It's made going from point to point as opposed to long to short or tiny to long. It's a very unique pattern. I had a lot of fun putting it together, and well, I'm really enjoying wearing it too. So without further ado, let's grab our hooks, grab some Color Theory yarn by Lion Brand. We'll head on over to the craft table and we will stitch ourselves up a very fashionable new shawl together. In order to make our shawl today, we're using Color Theory by Lion Brand. This is a size 4, medium weight, 100% acrylic yarn. If you're going to stripe the whole shawl, you want 2 balls of each color. If you're making the asymmetrical version like me, you need 1 ball of each. And I've got Stonewash and Moonbeam here. For your asymmetrical shawl, you're going to want another about 50 yards of a brightly colored size 4 medium weight acrylic yarn. I've got a pair of scissors, a yarn needle, a couple of stitch markers. I'm also using a 6mm hook. This is also known as a J or a 6. And a nice to have and not need to have is a measuring tape. This is helpful especially if you're making the child's version of this shawl. And once you've got all this together, we can get started. This shawl grows with each row, and we are striping every other row. So we're going to be changing our colors always along the top flat edge of the shawl. To that end, you might want to have your stitch marker handy because it helps identify, at least for the first little while, the top flat edge. Once it starts to grow and you see the pattern developing, you may not need that stitch marker anymore. So decide which color you want to start with. You'll be changing pretty quickly anyway, so if you're not making this 2 colors, you're only making it 1 color, don't worry about the color changing. It's not going to change the pattern at all, but I am going to show you how to carry the color across the top edge. Here we go. Start with your yarn, a slip knot, and chain 2. We are largely using single crochets and chains throughout this entire pattern. Skip the first chain from the hook and single crochet into the next chain. And that 1 single crochet stitch is row number 1. Chain 3, skip the first chain from the hook, single crochet into the next chain, chain 1, skip the next chain, and single crochet into the last stitch. But before you fasten off or you finish off that stitch, you're going to grab your new color and you're going to weave that in. You're going to finish that stitch with it. So that doesn't change the color of the stitch, it just changes the color up top, but it gets it ready for you to use now the new color. So in order to carry the color you're not using, you're going to drop the color you're not using. You want to just pick it up and make sure that you kind of twist your yarn around it to chain 1 with the new color. And you can go back and weave that tail in later. By twisting your yarn around that other color, it kind of carries it along for you so that you're going to end up with a little bit of crisscrossing yarn across the top, but it's sort of less. Turn your work. You're now using your new color. Your other color just sits at the top waiting to be used again. And this is where you might want to take your stitch marker and put your stitch marker up there, because this area up here where your colors change is the top flat edge of the shawl. We've chained 1. We don't use the first chain, the turning chain. We always skip it. You're going to single crochet into the first stitch. I'm going to just move my stitch marker a little bit. So to single crochet into the first actual stitch, single crochet into that chain 1 space, and single crochet into the last stitch. So that's where we're at so far. Chain 3. Turn your work. Skip the first chain from the hook, single crochet into the next chain. Chain 1, skip a stitch, it'll be that last chain you made, single crochet into the next stitch. Chain 1, skip a stitch, single crochet into the last stitch. And before you finish off that last stitch, we're back up at the top, you're going to change colors. So you're going to grab that color that you had originally dropped, and you're going to pick it up, and you might want to just carry, see how I'm kind of grabbing the first color, or the color, my current color, I'm kind of grabbing it there. I'm changing colors back. So that doesn't change the color of the stitch, but it does set me up to use my new color, or my original color, to go all the way back down again. Let's see that pattern again. With our new color, we've finished off this stitch and chain 1. So you always chain 1 whether you're changing colors or you're doing it in a solid pattern color. Turn your work. I like to reposition my yarn so they don't cross on me. And an odd row is single crochet in every single stitch and every single chain 1 space all the way back down to the end. Every row will have an odd number. And at the end of every odd row, you chain 3 and turn. So there's 5 stitches at the end of row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if it's a row 5, it's 5 stitches. If it's a row 7, it's 7 stitches. At the end of your odd row on the increasing pattern part, you will always have the same number of stitches at the end of that odd row. So I've just completed row 5, I have 5 stitches. I chain 3 now and turn. And the pattern on the way back is the single crochet, chain 1, skip 1, single crochet, chain 1, skip 1. Skip the first chain from the hook, single crochet into the next chain, chain 1, skip 1, that'll be that chain right at the end of what was row 5, single crochet into the next stitch, chain 1, skip 1, chain 1, and skip 1. When you get back to the beginning, before you finish that last stitch of an even row, change color. And it's helpful to twist your yarns first to change the color and then twist them back to chain 1. And that just carries the yarn along the top. Makes it fairly neat and tidy. It'll just look like the yarn is kind of naturally changing, and in the changing pattern will also create its own little pattern across the top edge. At the end of your even row, you will have a new odd number of stitches. So at the end of row 5, you had 5 stitches. You chained 3 in turn, and you've added 2 stitches to your even row. Because the first chain of the chain 3 gets skipped, you always have one little turning chain. So every even row will increase by 2 stitches, and that's on the increasing side. So this is where you want to keep your stitch marker if it helps. After a little while, you know that's where you're changing colors, so you know that's the top edge of your shawl, and of course your shawl is going to grow this direction. And let's do that again. You've chained 1, turn your work. I like to reposition my balls of yarn. We single crochet in every single stitch and every single chain 1 space all the way down. So it's just a row of single crochet. This row, row 7, will have 7 stitches in it. The even row before it added the 2 stitches to become 7 stitches, and row 7 only single crochets in each of those newly created stitches in the previous even row. So that's row 7, there's 7 stitches. At the end of an odd row, we want to grow. 1, 2, 3 chains, turn, skip the first chain, single crochet into the next chain, chain 1, skip a stitch, single crochet into the next stitch, chain 1, skip a stitch, single crochet into the next stitch, chain 1, skip a stitch, single crochet into the next stitch, chain 1, skip a stitch, single crochet into the next stitch. It's the last stitch. So remember, on the last stitch of an even row, you change colors. And if you are changing colors, don't forget, I like to twist my yarns just sort of back and forth to kind of carry them across the top. Makes it neat and tidy. Then I have positioned myself to work the next row in the new color. If you're not changing colors, you just finish the row with your last single crochet, chain 1 and turn. I've chained 1 and I can turn and I can continue with the pattern now. This is the established pattern for the entire increasing section of this shawl. You are aiming to continually grow this edge, so every odd row we chain 3, and every even row your final stitch count will have increased by 2 stitches, because at the end of every odd row you chain 3 and turn. So every single even row you're going to see your stitch count increase by 2. But more importantly, what you're going to see is this evenly extending triangular shape. The side that your stitch marker's on, the side that you're changing colors on, remains flat. This edge that you're single crocheting or single crocheting, chain 1, skip 1, that pattern, this edge is the edge that grows. So eventually you want to, this is going to be the line that runs from the middle of your neck all the way down your back. This edge is going to be the edge that wraps sort of say from wrist across to wrist. You can make this as large as you want, given you have enough yarn. I am aiming to get a length, a nape to waist length of about 20 or 21 inches. And that would be around 25 to 27.5 centimeters deep. That's for an adult. A little shorter is fine for children. But if you're more concerned about it being sort of wrist to wrist, you're less concerned about this length and more concerned about this length. So you would want to keep working this pattern until your top edge, which you consider this is where you would hold it with your fingers, so say from your wrist to the middle of your neck, this edge that would go along your arm. This for a child will be maybe you're aiming for 60 centimeters or 24 inches. For an adult, maybe you're aiming for 72.5 centimeters or 29 inches. But it varies per person, and this does have a significant amount of stretch, so don't stress the measurements too much. I think what you want to do is aim to repeat this pattern until you get to at least row 76, and then pause and take some measurements. So remember, on the odd row, you single crochet in every single stitch all the way down. That includes the chain 1 spaces, chain 3, and then turn. On the even rows, you single crochet into the second chain from the hook, chain 1, skip 1, single crochet, chain 1, skip 1, single crochet, chain 1, skip 1, single crochet, all the way back. Your last single crochet is where you change colors, if you're changing colors. If you're not changing colors, just single crochet. Everybody chains 1 and turns, and then you just single crochet in every single stitch and space all the way back down, chain 3, turn, and so on. If you're changing colors every other row, you're going to get this lovely stripe pattern happening. If you're not changing colors at all, you're just going to see that slightly open, sort of stretchy work, the slightly lacy pattern beginning to unfold in front of you. I'm going to let you work away at that for a little bit, and I will catch up with you at row 76. I've just finished row 76, so this is a good time to pause and take a measurement. Row 76, this is be the last row so far of my increasing, and right here where my hook is, this would be the part, this is the middle of the shawl. This would be the part that sits at the base of your neck. This would be the part that is as far down your back as it's going to hang. But if you, let's see, just take my hook out here, if you spin it, this is the top edge of the shawl. This is the part where all of our little color changing has been happening. This is the part that doesn't grow. We do not increase on this side. So you know that this is the stripes go up and down your back. And this is the part you would hold this, maybe this would go to your wrist. This would go across your arm to the middle back of your neck. I said to pause at row 76 because if you're making this for a child, this should probably be the halfway mark of your shawl. Grab your measuring tape and give the top edge a measure. You should be around 55 to 57 centimeters or 21 to 22 inches. If you're a little bit wider than that, that's fine. If you need it wider, you can continue with the increase pattern, but this has quite a bit of stretch to it, so you don't want to go too far for a child. If you're making this for an adult, I recommend continuing with the regular increasing pattern that we've been doing all along until you get to row 90. And then measure it again. You should be somewhere around the 27 to 29 inch mark. So somewhere in this area, 20 inches, or 27 to 29 inches, around 70 to 74 centimeters, and that is across the top edge. Again, this is the edge that goes from your wrist to the middle of your neck, and the last, if you're looking at it this way, this is the halfway mark of the shawl. This is the part that kind of hangs down your back. So 76 rows is probably good for a child. You can pause here, and if you're going to make this for an adult, I recommend going to row 90. I'm going to go to row 90. I'll see you at the end of 14 more rows, and then we'll hook back up and we'll start the decrease. I have stitched across until I got to row 86. This is getting quite long in the middle back, and if I hold this up against my chin and then stretch my arm out, it goes all the way down the length of my arm because, like I said, it's quite stretchy. So at row 86, I am going to stop increasing. You can continue as long as you want the increasing pattern. If you want this longer, just keep in mind that the middle back will get longer and longer and longer as you go. But if you need it to be a little wider, you can just keep going. That's absolutely not a problem. But I consider myself a fairly average sized adult female, and 86 rows of the increased pattern with this stretchy little stitch is more than enough for me. Now it's time to change things up and start decreasing. For the decreased pattern, it's pretty much exactly the same stitch. The only thing that changes is what we do down here at the bottom. So before, when we were increasing, we would finish an odd row, chain 3 and turn, and on that chain 3 we would gain 2 new stitches for the even row, the return, all the way up to the back. And this is the back, the top edge here. For the decrease, we want to do all of the decreasing on the same side. So instead of chaining 3 when we get all the way to the end, we're going to actually stop in the third last stitch. I'm going to just turn my work, and because this is an odd row, I'm single crocheting in each stitch all the way down, but I'm going to stop in the third last stitch. I'll see you down there. As this is an odd row, I've single crocheted all the way down the edge, and typically with the increasing I would go all the way to the end, chain 3 and turn, and that's to increase the row count, to make it longer. I don't want to do that anymore. I am now decreasing. So the odd row pattern is the same. I single crochet all the way down the edge, but I stop in the third last stitch. So that leaves the last 2 stitches unworked. Instead of chaining 3, I only chain 1 now because I just want to turn. I don't want to increase. And for the even row, the return row all the way back up to the top, it's the same pattern. I single crochet in the first stitch, chain 1, skip 1, single crochet in the next stitch, chain 1, skip 1, single crochet in the next stitch, chain 1, skip 1, etc. So the row 2 pattern, or the even row pattern, is the same. It's single crochet, chain 1, skip 1, single crochet, repeat. But now I've got a shortening edge. And every odd row from here on out, I will only single crochet all the way down to the third last stitch, leaving the last 2 stitches unworked, and that will begin to shorten it. And it will shorten at an even rate as I increased. So I'll have a completely symmetrical shawl by the time I'm finished. That is all there is to decreasing. At this point, you should be able to tell what the top edge is because you've got this lovely triangular effect happening here. So you probably don't need to have your stitch markers in anymore. But if you want a reminder because you've been increasing for so long, it's perfectly acceptable to put your stitch marker down here now instead. So when you get down there, the stitch marker now reminds you that, oh, you're not going all the way to the end. You're not chaining 3. You are stopping in the third last stitch. You're only chaining 1 and you're turning. So you might want to do that just to kind of keep you now in the mindset of decreasing until that becomes the overriding pattern in your brain. A little helpful hint. I will see you guys after a few more rows. I've been working along now doing the decrease pattern, and I am now at row 140. I'm at 140 rows. More importantly, I'm at 33 stitches in total. If you're working on the child size, you could get to row 124, or you can keep going a little bit longer. It depends on how much you want your color block to be. If you don't want to do the color block, the asymmetrical aspect of the shawl, then you're going to keep going in the decrease pattern, and as your yarn starts to get less and less, you're going to tie in your next ball of yarn. So if your color A starts to run out or your color B starts to run out, you just tie in the same color and keep on going, and you repeat that decreasing pattern until you get to the very end. If you are doing the asymmetrical pattern like me, then I want to have I don't want to completely run out of yarn, but I do want to have like a nice big kind of block in my asymmetrical shawl. So at row 140 for me, I'm going to fasten off both colors. So I switched to my other color at the end of the row, but I've decided that that's it. I don't really need to keep going. So I'm going to go back and just take out that last stitch, finish it with the same colored stitch. I'm going to cut both yarns, and I'm going to pull them both through that same stitch. So I'm technically fastening off this one. This one this one is caught up in that, but I'm going to be crocheting over top of it or just weaving those tails in later, so I'm not terribly worried about that. If you are worried about it because you feel like it's a bit too slippery, just add another little knot. So what you can do is grab your yarn needle, thread up the extra yarn, bring it back through that stitch and make a little knot. Just sort of back through that stitch, pass your yarn through that loop and make a little knot. But more importantly, when you weave in these tails, you're going to weave them all the way one way and then all the way back and a couple times, and it won't want to come out. Okay. If you are not changing colors because you are going to continue that stripe pattern, I'll see you at the end of the last row. For the rest of us, I'm going to just turn my work here so that I'm working back down. We're going to continue with the same decreasing pattern. I'm going to use some of this Heartland. This is the color Redwood. This is also acrylic yarn. You could of course use another color theory if you want to, but I really want to push this color theory to the test, and I want a bold, gorgeous, color to sort of finish off my asymmetrical shawl. And I really love the Heartland. It's also nice and soft. More importantly, it's also 100% acrylic like the rest of the color theory. So I know when I wash this down the road, it's all going to act together nicely. I'm going to join my yarn with a slip stitch in the top of the last stitch. And because this is a row of solid single crochet, I'm going to single crochet right over top of those two tails, because I find I crochet rather tightly, so I'm not too worried about those tails coming out. So I'm going to crochet right over top of them, but if you feel more comfortable weaving them in later, leave them out, weave them in at the end. And now you're going to continue with the decreasing pattern. You're single crocheting in every single stitch and every single chain one space all the way down until you get to 2 stitches, the third last stitch. You leave the last 2 stitches unworked, chain 1, turn, and continue with the single crochet, chain 1, skip 1, single crochet, chain 1, skip 1, all the way back. So it's the exact same pattern. It's just now you are not switching colors at the end of your even rows. You are just chain 1, turn, single crochet all the way back down to the third last stitch, chain 1, turn, single crochet, chain 1, skip 1, all the way back, chain 1, turn, and etc. So it's the exact same decrease stitch, but now you are not changing colors. You're just working that one fabulous solid color to create a block of interest at the end of your shawl. If you are not changing colors, so if you just decided to tie in extra balls of the same color because you just want a nice solid striped shawl all the way through, then you're going to continue with the decrease pattern. So that's it. Same pattern for all of us. It just depends on what color you're going to use. I will let you work away at that. I will see you at the last row. I have continued with the decrease pattern, but in my solid red color now, all the way to the last row. That is row 171 if you're making an adult. And if the last row is for a child's shawl, it'll be row 151. You'll have 1 stitch left. You're going to fasten off and weave in your tails. Now, if you did the constant repeating striped pattern all the way to the end, you finish your last stitch, row 1, you are not single crocheting back across it. You have got sort of a 1 and then you immediately went longer on the way back. So you're finishing on an odd row. You're just doing 1 single crochet. You don't need to chain 1, turn, and single crochet in the next stitch. That would make it an even number of rows, and that's unnecessary. If you want to add a row of border all the way around, you can chain 1, turn, and single crochet in there if you want, or you can work 2 options across the sort of the upper edge. So if you didn't like your sort of changing colors, if that kind of irritates you or you felt it looks messy, you can single crochet in the edge of each row all the way across, whichever color you want, or you can be interesting, single crochet, chain 1, skip a row edge, single crochet in the next row, chain 1, skip 1, single crochet in the next row, all the way across. So you've got some little options if you want to just smooth up that edge. But one of the things I like about this pattern is that the changing colors up top is kind of unique and interesting. It also won't interfere with that lovely stretch that you've got. So I will not be adding a border to the edge of mine, mostly because I don't want to interfere with my striping effect. And of course I've got my color block. I went with the asymmetrical look. Now all you want to do is weave in your tails, and you'll have them at both ends, so don't forget to get both ends, and then probably do a little bit of light blocking, because as you've noticed with the increasing and the decreasing pattern, you've got a little bit of curl first coming up in one direction and then as you decrease going in the other direction. So a little bit of light blocking will help that all lay nice and flat and hang. It'll also help ease out some of your stitches if some of them were kind of on the tight side, or maybe some of them are on the loose side. It'll help ease the whole thing out, and it'll hang and drape down your back very nicely. I mean, there's a lot of ways you can wear the shawl. I like it like this because I want to show off that blast of color. It's almost like a big lipstick print on somebody's shirt. And I'm wearing it with a kilt pin. Of course, you can use brooches. You can just tie this. You can just wrap it around your neck. You could just drape it across your shoulders. You can just hang it over the inside edges of your elbows if you're feeling a little on the saucy side. I love shawls for that purpose. And the triangular shawl is just such a graceful design. I I really like it. Helps keep your back warm, helps give you a little more warmth around your throat if you want to kind of wrap it up there. It looks nice coming out underneath the neck of a big jacket or a huge sweater. We are in sweater weather. They have a lot of applications. So if you're new to making shawls, or you're new to color theory, then I'd say this is a nice marrying of the two together. We hope you enjoyed making today's shawl along with us. You can definitely pick up a copy of the pattern in our Etsy shop. I'll have a link to that in the description box down below. The pattern includes all of the instructions for the adult size, the child size, making it striped all the way through, making it striped with the fashionable blotch of color, or making it in a solid color as well. So lots of options for that shawl, and they're all included in the written pattern as well. A big thank you once again to Lion Brand Yarns for sponsoring today's video. Really loved using the color theory yarn. Very soft, very nice, makes a very nice shawl. I might not take this off for a while. And we will see you guys soon here on the Jayda and Stitches show. Until then, stay safe, stay crafty, have a great week, and we'll see you soon. Bye guys.
Hi everyone, this is Mama in Stitches. Thank you for watching. Here are a few other videos you might enjoy. Don't forget to subscribe, and you can also click the like button and the bell. Thank you, have a wonderful day.